विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिमाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Mantra number 6. Tadha tadvanam nama. Tadvanam iti upasitavyam. Saya etadevam veda. Abhihainagam sarvani bhutani. Samvanchanti. So tadha tadvanam nama, that Paramatma, that Brahman, which made possible the victory for the Devas, its name is Tadvanam. Tadvanam Nama. Tadha. Tadha means, how means it is indeed, it is popular. Tad means that Brahman. That Brahman which is indeed very popular, its name is Tadvanam. Tadvanam Nama, its name is Tadvanam. So that Brahman is well known as a adorable. Vanam means vananiyam, pujaniyam, which is worshipable or who is to be worshipped. Vananiyam. Vanam means vananiyam. So who is to be worshipped. Who is not only to be respected, who is to be worshipped, being a Ishvara. Respect is one thing and worship is another thing. For some people you have a respect, but it doesn't lead ultimately to the worship. Ishvara is the one, you start giving respect, but then ultimately it results into worship. That's for your own advantage, not for his advantage. But anyway, so that Brahman is well known as adorable as among all the beings, and it has to be meditated like it has been said here, Tadvanam iti upasitavyam, Tadvanam Nama. So he is to be worshipped as most adorable, then definitely he is to be worshipped with all the glories. And then says, Saya etadevam Veda, etad Brahma, Saya evam Veda, one who, Veda, one who does upasana. Here, Vid Dhatu has two meanings in Shastra. Vid Dhatu has two meanings. Vid means to know. So the word Vidwan means the one who knows, the wise person. Vid also means to do upasana, either. And there also the word Vidwan. So that Vidwan means Upasaka, the meditator. So Vidwan has a two meaning and Vidya also has a two meaning. From Vid only we got Vidya. So Vidya means either a Saguna Brahma Vidya or Nirguna Brahma Vidya. Nirguna Brahma Vidya means our Brahma Jnanam, self-knowledge. And Saguna Brahma Vidya means Upasana. Upasana on Ishvara, Saguna Brahma. So anyway, Saya etadevam Veda, one who worship that Ishvara like this, evam means in this manner, one who meditates him, as the most adorable one, Sa etadevam veda abhiha enam sarvani bhutani samvanchanti. Well, then all beings adore that person, that upasaka, that meditator, because he has meditated upon Brahman as the most adorable. Then that person, upasaka, also becomes adorable. Becomes it will be explained, he will be loved by all and forever. One doesn't want to go away from him, from this person. And so he becomes the most adorable, most a object of love for everybody in the community. So that is what the result also has been told. Anyway, so this is told by our Indra. Basically, after the teaching by Uma, Indra now says that all the worship that I receive, ultimately goes to Ishvara, because he is the Vanam. He is the Vanam, means he is the most adorable. He is to be worshipped, because of him only we have got a victory. The most glorious, the most worshipful. And we know that the mind, senses of Jiva, all these things, as well as those of Indra and other devatas, all of them draw their existence from Ishvara, and all the different organs also functions because of his presence. And so he is the source of all the glories. Ishvara is the source of all the glories. And that is how even Bhagavan said in chapter 10 also, that all the vibhutis, glories of individuals and objects, all belong to him. They come from him. All the glories come from me alone. That's what Bhagavan said. Yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam, as a tattadeva gachatvam, etc., etc. So wherever you see any kind of a glory, wherever you feel, that this is really a beautiful thing, this is just wonderful, like that, means immediately remember Ishvara. That because of whom presence there, definitely that thing has become worshipful, or that thing has become glorious. So, anything that exists with its own special characteristic is basically a manifestation of Ishvara. So, a flower has a certain manifestation, makes it, we say very beautiful. So, flower has its own manifestation. Ishvara has a manifestation in form of flower. Ishvara has a manifestation in form of Devata, that special characteristic. That's how I am not able to say that I am Deva, right? And Devas are able to say that I am Deva because of Ishvara. That's some special manifestation. But then as a human being, I have certain special manifestation, which Devas do not have. And therefore, definitely, so everything in the creation has a certain special characteristic. That is the glory of Ishvara. That's the glory of Ishvara. And one has to, that's the glory of Ishvara, that's the truth. But it becomes really advantageous when we see that way. If you don't see that way, that same object with a special characteristic can become an object of envy also, jealousy also, or something else. And therefore, that is how Bhagavan said in chapter 10, you see everywhere. In all this, my manifestation, various names and forms. That's only my manifestation. And in every form, you will find some special characteristic. And that is my manifestation. You consider that way. Even if you can't consider me as a total manifestation in a given form, but at least a special characteristic is there where your eyes are definitely, or where your mind is definitely goes immediately. Take it that it is my manifestation. Like some intelligent being is there, and we immediately come to know, oh, this person must be very intelligent. Okay, then that intelligence is me. Now you find some person who is coming from the opposite side on the road, and you say, you immediately say, oh, she's she's good. In terms of looks, or he is very good in terms of looks. Immediately remember Ishvara. That is his manifestation. That is what the vibhuti, the glory is. So the status enjoyed by the devas as the presiding deities of various laws is another glory of Ishvara. So Indra, being presiding deity of all the devas, is due to Ishvara. Vayu being a deity of a strength. Immediately, whenever you see a Vayu, you will immediately remember a strength. Then that strength is my manifestation. So then Agni, being a deity of a speech, then is again due to Ishvara. So wherever you find some eloquent people, quoting beautiful things and bringing out various good words, which will convey to you what they want to convey, and you understand it, then well, you say, oh, that person has used with a lot of clarity words and everything. Immediately remember Ishvara. Otherwise, jealousy will come or something else will come. Will definitely come. And that is not correct. It's not correct. That's not truth. That's a fake thing. That you see yourself different from that person, or you see that person as a different from you, itself is a fake thing. The reality is everything is one. And well, one thing only has manifested in this form. So it's a whole. Pujya Swami is whole. Really, it is wonderful. Whole means everything is one. There is nothing, no division. Division is a fake thing, born of ignorance. That's all. Dvaitam is basically fake, born of ignorance. And whatever is born of ignorance is fake. It is never real. And therefore, this is in one's vision, in the vision of the Vedantic student, there should be a wholeness. Wholeness. Not of an individual or ego. More of a wholeness. More of accommodation. Because he is going to ultimately accommodate everything. Saying, I am Brahman. Means what? I accommodate everything. And so to have that vision, one's ego, one has to employ the means by which one's ego gets diluted and diluted and diluted and diluted. And that's the only way that you see the glory of Ishvara in the creation. That is, let's understand this. And so tadvanam, that Brahman. Tad means that. That means that Brahman. And ha means indeed well known that Brahman is tadvanam. Brahman as a Ishvara gains this name as a Tadvanam, and it is to be meditated as Tadvanam, that who is to be adored, who is most worshipful, who can be the object of an upasana. And that upasana is not in one form. I mean a particular form of Ishvara, Tadvanam, Tadvanam, Tadvanam. No, this is not. This upasana has a very wide, what can we say, locus. Anywhere you are in the world moving around, seeing a good mountain, good sight, and you seeing a beautiful ocean or beautiful wave, beautiful sunrise, beautiful clouds, anywhere, or even seeing beautiful red bird or blue bird or whatever, seeing anywhere. This upasana is done with the open eye also, and can be done with the closed eyes also. I will explain you that. Anyway, so here, tad upasitavyam, tad vanam iti upasitavyam. Well, it is, this Ishvara is to be, who is responsible for the victory of the Devas, and that has been established and who has manifested in the form of Yaksha, and Indra has gained the knowledge of that Yaksha, that Swarupa of Yaksha, and then Indra is praising like this, that okay, I should not sing my own glory, or people should not sing my glory. Well, ultimately all the glories belong to that Ishvara, because of whom we have got the victory. And so here upasana means recognizing the glory of Brahman or Saguna Brahman or Ishvara in the form of the world, in the form of this world. So in this process, well, Brahman becomes one who is glorious, and the appreciation of the glory also makes one ego permeated with the Ishvara, because you are seeing like this, all the time seeing the presence of Ishvara. And therefore you are basically transforming the ego from this alienation. Ego means basically whenever other than your ego, if you don't recognize the presence of anything else, you are alienated. That's how it is. People in fact sing one's own glory all the time, don't realizing that you are alienating from everything else. I am so and so. I have this. I have this kind of likings. I have disliked this. I dislike certain things, and like that you always try to crystallize more and more. Any crystal is basically an alienated thing. A crystal is an alienated thing, and therefore, and that alienation you won't like. Definitely you don't like. Alienation brings loneliness. Alienation brings loneliness. That is how people in the corporate ladder, this is just by the way, I should not discuss here. People in the corporate ladder, the corporate ladder is like this, like a pyramid. So Once you reach on the height in the corporate ladder, you become alone. Where if you are working like as an assistant engineer, there are other 30 people along with you are working. But as you reach the ladder in the position, then as a chairman or something, or as a vice president, you are one, and you don't mix up with other things also. No, don't mix up, because you are vice president, and so you will have to join vice president's club or president's club, or you will have to join. I think there is a president club here, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. So you just can't mix with other people who are, and you feel alienated all the time. Alienated, loneliness. Anyway, what I am saying is, this Vipassana is a wonderful thing, because Ishvara is going to remove your alienation. He will make you connect through this Vipassana to himself, and slowly your ego definitely is permeated with this Ishvara. When ego is permeated with Ishvara, then definitely you feel the presence of Ishvara all the time. And when you feel the presence of Ishvara all the time, your ego is secure. Definitely. And so anyway, so at the level of Upasana itself, one gains a freedom from misery. More alienation, more misery. Less alienation, presence of, in your awareness all the time there is a Ishvara. Well, definitely, like a child. In child's awareness, if mother is there around, then the child feels secure. If somehow the child feels that, well, mother is away from me, sometimes a small child, when she puts in another room, she makes it sleep in another room, and she cooks in this room, and when child wakes up, it starts crying immediately. Then what mothers do, I have seen that. So, well, mother has to cook also. So she just brings the child in the kitchen, and she puts it, she keeps him in a place where the child is able to see mother. That's all. That's enough. She need not have to keep all the time in the hand, but she has to keep it in a place where child is able to see the mother. That's enough, and that child won't cry. Seeing the mother, child won't cry. That's all. In awareness of the child, basically mother has to be there. Same way in awareness of this person, well, Ishvara has to be there. Well, then you feel all the time secure. That's what it is. Very healthy ego. This is a very healthy ego. But anyway, let's see further. So here a word form, well, similar to vananiyam. Vanam is vananiyam. And we have a similar word form in a Gayatri mantra called Varenyam, which is, and there also, Varenyam also is the same thing. Well, basically Varenyam means Sambhajaniyam, who is to be worshipped, who is most glorious, etc. So Tat Savituhu Varenyam, etc. We have that, minus Vyahruti. Actually Gayatri mantra has no Vyahruti. We add that Vyahruti, 3 Vyahrutis we add. Om Bhuhu Bhuvaha Suvaha, and 3 lokas basically, but there are 3 Vyahrutis we call. So Om Tat Savituhu Varenyam. Tad Varenyam has the same meaning as Tad Vanam. Tad Vanam and Tad Varenyam, same thing. Means the meaning is all the glories belonging to all the 3 worlds. Bhuhu Bhuvaha Suvaha. All the 3 worlds basically have the same, whatever is there in all these 3 worlds is nothing but Ishvara. And therefore, every glory there in all the lokas is also glory of Ishvara. And so Brahman gains the name Tadvanam, which is nothing but equal to Tadvarenyam in Gayatri mantra. Tadvarenyam is equal to Tadvanam is equal to most glorious. And his glory is nothing but in form of any form. Please understand, his glory is nothing but this universe. And there in all these forms, and with a special characteristic. All that is his glory. So, how we sing that glory? Well, the glory should be sung in this way. Because of this Ishvara, well, the flower is a flower. Because of Ishvara, the mountain is a mountain. Because of Ishvara, the bird is a bird. Because of Ishvara, human being is a human being. Because of Ishvara, the Deva is a Deva. Because of Ishvara, well, definitely the tree is a tree. Because of Ishvara, a fruit is a fruit. That is the glory. But where is a special characteristic? Special characteristic. A fruit has a special characteristic which I don't have. And a human being has a special characteristic that tree does not have. And therefore that is a special characteristic that you see in different things, different forms. That is the glory. And one has to see that glory. This is called meditation of Ishvara. And that's an open eye meditation or a close eye also. You can even see the glory in your mind also, visualizing all these things. So when one sings the glory of his or her own Ishta Devata also, then also the praise of the glory goes only to Ishvara. Because ultimately forms of, that's how I say it. The Ishvara is the one who is a Deva of the Devas also. And therefore your Ishta Devata also is a form of Ishvara. If you remember, I have defined this Devatas, etc. Ishvara is everything in this creation, this Virat Purusha. But then same Ishvara who is a Virat Purusha can, if you look at it from the one manifestation, from the standpoint of one manifestation, we call it Devata. So Ishvara in the form of this Virat Purusha, if I look upon from the manifestation in terms of Surya, I say Surya Devata. From the standpoint of, same Ishvara if I look upon from the standpoint of earth, I will call Prithvi Devata. Same Ishvara from the standpoint of Agni, one manifestation. Then I say Agni Devata. So even if you worship a particular Devata, Ishta Devata, you have the Devata, the form, particular form which you like, and you are worshipping in that form, but ultimately, that glory, if you are singing a glory of that Ishta Devata, but that glory goes to Ishvara alone, because that is his form only. And therefore, just as the river, all the rivers go and merge into the ocean, similarly all forms of prayers coming from different religious cultures reach to the same Ishvara alone, because everything is a manifestation of Ishvara. So in whichever form people invoke, in the form of in that form Ishvara comes to bless. And that is how he told also in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. People, people worship me or surrender to me in whichever the form, considering me in a particular form, tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. I also will be obtained to them, or I will bless them in that particular form only. That's how he says. Anyway, so tadvanam iti upasitavyam, tadvanam, nama. So basically, now singing the glory in form of this world means what? Taking particular name and say Namaha. That's all. Says, I salute in this form, I salute in this form, I salute in this form. And that is how in our worship, in our puja basically, we have one particular upachara called Archana. So Archana means it is a step in doing puja in which one offer flowers at the altar chanting different names of Lord. And that every name indicates a particular glory also of the Lord. And so Nam Samkirtanam is a upasana here basically. Is a kind of upasana wherein you repeat the names of Ishvara and sing in praise of him. And every name basically reveals Ishvara's glory. But generally when you sing glory, there is a one question mark. What? When you sing like suppose, if you sing my glory or I sing your glory, could be a flattery. Could be a flattery. Means, but when I sing the glory of Ishvara, there is no flattery. Why? Because, see, the flattery is saying something more than what the person is. That's called flattery. But in case of Ishvara, whatever you understand, in fact, any glory mentioned through that particular name is understood by you always less than what he is. And therefore, like I tell you, Anantaya Namaha. No, we have this. Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. So now, basically Anantaya Namaha. Wow. Now how will you understand Anantaya? How will you pick up the entire meaning of limitless? How will you pick up? You cannot. And so basically that is a glory, that he is having so many virtues, let's say. He is a possessor of all the virtues. or he is possessor of all the virtues in absolute measure. Now this is the meaning. How will I pick up? How will I pick up that meaning? So basically what I understand through a particular name, any glory mentioned by in a particular name is always understood less than what it is. It is understood less, and then when I sing, again it becomes less. Like what happens is, suppose you want to explain certain point to me. This is to be understood properly, because there are people who are Nastikas. They say you are basically singing glory of Ishvara and thereby you are flattering him and manipulate him, etc., etc. And he is also, by if he is getting, he blesses you just by hearing the glories, then he also is like us, basically. Like a person gets, flattered, and you definitely get certain things done through that by manipulating that. So people tell that way, but it is not here. Why? Because whatever the Ishvara is, and that his glory has been basically mentioned by through that name, is always understood less than what has been really mentioned. And after understanding, you sing while doing puja, etc., or you chant, and you sing his glory basically. That is, even you have what you speak is always less compared to what you understand. And therefore, definitely, even if you sing glory, he is not going to flatter. Flattered means basically, flattery means is saying something more than what person basically is. That's called flattery. And that way it is not possible flattering the Ishvara. So this is just by the way for you to understand. So we can never say anything more than what Ishvara is. And therefore, because we cannot understand his glory all, that's how Bhagavan also stopped. In 10th chapter, he narrated few things and he said, I am not able to describe all my glories. He said very clearly at the end of the chapter, he said, I can't describe, because all the words and all the manifestation is glory. How will you sing? And in a given manifestation also you cannot sing. You cannot sing a glory of a flower, I am telling you. Because we know so less about the flower. We know few things about flower. And that from that what we understood also, what when we start singing, we always praise compared to what we understand. So when it comes at the level of a speech, it is always less. That's how always this is my problem. Sometimes what I understand here in this particular mantra, when I start expressing it, it is so less compared to what I really understood. And that is the case with you also, with anybody. And therefore, what I sing a glory of Ishvara will be so less compared to what he is, and therefore it is not a flattery. That's for sure. And therefore, so this is Nam Sankirtanam, which is a very beautiful thing. And that is Nam Sankirtanam is considered as a one type of upasana which has been mentioned here. Tadvanam Nama iti upasitavyam. It has been very clearly told. Do a Nam upasana means Nam Sankirtanam. And Tadvanam means sing his glories. And glories mean the form of what? Glories in the form of these three worlds. Or glory in the form of all the worlds. Why Swamiji 3 worlds? There are 7 worlds, 14 worlds are there. Why you are saying 3? These 3 are Upalakshana for 14. So, so basically, because of Gayatri Mantra, I said that Buhu Bhuvaha Suvaha Tadvarenyam. So that is how I mentioned that way, but it is means understood that. All, whatever here in this universe, that is his glory. That is his manifestation and that is his glory. So in doing Archana with 108 names or 1008 names, the glory of Ishvara are said. And after every name, you say Namaha. My salutations to you. My salutations to you. And this word Namaha is very crucial for us. And because that is a way we connect to Ishvara. By saying Namaha. My salutations to you. That is how I connect to Ishvara. And of course, I means that basically ego, which has its own area through which it tries to establish, itself as an entity. So when you say I, basically you establish yourself as an entity with a certain characteristic, and therefore, it holds on to them with that sense that I am this, or this is me, whatever, etc. This is ego. Now, but saying that Namaha, basically, my salutations to him or salutations to you, loosen the hold of that ego. When you connect to a very bigger entity, definitely you as a ego, well, definitely get little loosened. And when you say like Achyutaya Namaha, now your ego means yourself is in the form of what? That I am subject to Chuti. I am subject to decline, I am subject to old age, I am subject to getting emaciated, becoming weak. When you say Achyutaya Namaha, well, you are telling to Ishvara, unto Achyuta my Namaskara, means what? Basically, well, the Achyuta means one who does not have any kind of a decline in terms of time, well, my salutations. And thereby you recognize yourself as a one who is subject to decline, and saluting him, surrendering to him, basically you are seeking his blessing. So here, this kind of a Namaha is at the devotee level, definitely. But then Namaha is taken further, you know very well, Pujya Swami has described very well. So Namaha is taken further, and in the wake of understanding of that non-dual reality of Ishvara, well, now there is only one Achyuta, and that you also is Achyuta and he also is Achyuta. That is what it is. So his glory is my glory. That is what the beauty is. So surrender here is a complete gain. So people always, there are people who are egoistic, they say one should not do this kind of a thing. Because even you have a certain glories. Your ego, you have a certain glories. Why don't you sing your glories all the time? Achyutaya Nama, Anantaya Nama, and you are doing that way. So, well, definitely you also have your own glories. Why don't you sing that way? But basically singing his glory, definitely we are going to gain lot. We become free from the smallness. Ego is very small, and ultimately that surrender definitely brings claiming all the glories belong to me. How can you say that? That's what it is. You are Brahman means what? Basically, ultimately, you are everything here. So Ishvara says, I am everything here in all these worlds. You are going to say, I am everything. So all the glories which you really, earlier you were singing as a devotee, the glories become ultimately belong to you also. There are no two Achyutas then. You are also Achyuta. You are also the one who is not subject to decline in terms of age and everything. You will understand that. So if basically the altar of surrender is very, very important. To where you do surrender is very important. If you surrender to someone who is lesser than you, well, you are going to lose. But if you are surrendering to someone who is bigger than you, then you are going to gain ultimately. That is what the importance of Ishvara is in this upasana. By singing the glory and surrendering like Achyutaya Nama, etc., by the names, etc., you are singing the glory and saying Namaha also, and connecting to him, and well, as a devotee initially, and later understanding that the altar, basically to where you surrender, that altar and you are one alone. That is his complete blessing. And that is how Bhishma also, when Yudhishthira asked what is a good thing, etc., in terms of, what is a better discipline in order to ultimately attain moksha, etc., then Bhishma gives out Vishnu Sahasranama in Mahabharata. Of course, he gave Shiva Sahasranama also. That is also there in Mahabharata only. Shiva Sahasranamavali also is there in Mahabharata. That is also given by Bhishma only. And Bhishma, answer to the Yudhishthira's question, he gave this Vishnu Sahasranama. Ko dharmas sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramo matah kim japan muchyate jantuhu janma samsara bandhanat. Well, we want to get released from this samsara. Please tell us one dharma, one discipline which can make us free totally from this samsara. Kim japan muchyate jantuhu. Jantu means this living being. Muchyate gets released from samsara. Then Bhishma narrated Vishnu Sahasranama. So this is ultimately this upasana. Well, it's a surrender to Ishvara and singing the glories ultimately. Well, you are connecting to Ishvara, and later, well, you are going to be one with him. That is his blessing. And so you become also free. He is also free, he makes you free. That is how it is. Anyway, so they say, in whichever area I find myself lacking, well, in terms of ego, then I take to the glory of Ishvara, and then I seek a bonding with him. I get connected in that area, and I become secure later. So that is where this elaborate 108 names and 1008 names of Ishvara are very useful. That's why I always, people ask me that out of the 16 upacharas, Shodashopachara puja, how Swamiji, we can't do that daily, we don't have time of doing 2 hours and 3 hours. Well, what can we do? So I always say, do these 5 upacharas. And one of the upachara I mention is this, Archana. Because it is singing his glory ultimately, that those glories will become your glories. But I don't require glory. That is where you are lacking. Well, you are lacking in terms of Chuti. You are saying that I am subject to decline. I am going to be emaciated. I am going to be old. Well, and then you are singing his glory in terms of Achyutaya Namaha. So he is one who is free from the decline. So then, his blessing, by that surrender, ultimately you also will become free from this birth, death, etc. And so, that is where these names, etc. are very, very useful. Each one of them has to be understood properly. That's how people sometimes ask also. And that is how Vishnu Sahasranama, by that, suppose person is doing a Archana, 1000 names, etc. Well, one has to understand each name. And that is how I think Shankaracharya ji wrote the first Bhashyam, the very first commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama. So he could have written, directly Upanishad commentary also, but he chose to write a first commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama where each name is explained. And once you understand that meaning, then while chanting the name, the meaning also appears. That meaning is nothing but the glory of Ishvara. And so, then one becomes the recipient of the blessing of Ishvara in that particular form, in the form which you have invoked, or in the form which you have sung the glory, and or in the form, definitely where you are lacking and he is complete. That form, if you sing the glory, you will also become a recipient of his blessing. So, in this name, Ishvara is presented also, if you find in Vishnu Sahasranama also, some of the names in the feminine form, really. And some of the names, they are in Strilinga. And some of the names are in a Pullinga also. And so, he is invoked as a father and mother. Or else Lalita Sahasranama. You can take, if you compare Vishnu Sahasranama and Lalita Sahasranama, or Shiva Sahasranamavali and Lalita Sahasranamavali, you will find in terms of meaning, same thing. So, it shows that Ishvara is invoked either as a father, either as a mother, both. And those things, so there is a male as well as a female aspect, in everybody also, and in Ishvara also. So, so if there is a place where there is a fusion of both aspects, it is Ishvara, because he alone is a Shakti, and he alone is a wielder of the Shakti, representing the male and female aspects are one and the same Ishvara. And that is how we explain. Ishvara is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, while Ishvara being an efficient cause, we say he is a father, or he is a male. And Ishvara being a material cause, we say he is a female. So both Ishvara is basically efficient cause and material cause. So he is a male and female, or he is a father and mother, both. That is how Kalidasa also invoked, Ishvara doing Mangalacharanam in Raghumamsha. Same way. Vagartha viva samproktam Vagartha pratipatte Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parmeshwaro, both. Jagatah Pitaro. I worship, Pitaro means parents. Who are the parents? I worship at the beginning of this commencement of this work, Raghumsha. I seek a blessing of my parents, Parvati Parmeshwaro, Parvati Shakti, Parmeshwara, the builder of the Shakti. And that's so how the father and mother aspect have been invoked. So this Archana, Nam Sankirtanam, etc. and so on have the basis in the words that Tadvanam Nama Upasitavyam. Tadvanam Upasana is this. When one understands their significance, once act of worship gains a direction. And I have already told you, this act of worship is nothing but showing a respect in adoration. But first it is an act of respect, and then the respect becomes the act of worship, because the altar of respect ultimately happens to be Ishvara. It is happening to in the case of our teachers also. Like when you meet Pujya Swamiji, you all of them might have met. So initially you show respect, slowly. Then respect turns to slowly worship also. It has happened. So this is how it is. So once you know the glories of that particular person, basically, though that he is a Brahma Vidya teacher and having clarity and this and that, it is beneficial to me to worship the teacher, etc., whatever. So then definitely initial respect turns to a worship. But in case of Ishvara, it is going to happen. In other people's case, may happen, may not happen. But in Ishvara's case, it is going to happen that, an act of worship ultimately turns to the, turns to be in the, it results into the act of worship. So I relate to Ishvara through the act of worship, and that worship is called upasana, not just respect. Not respect is not upasana. Act of worship is upasana. Act of respect is not upasana. Act of worship is upasana. Understand? So definitely Ishvara has to be worshipped through singing his glories, they call it as a guna bidhanam. Guna bidhanam means it has a specific attributes. In every form you will find a specific attributes are there, and that is, every form is a form of Ishvara, and therefore by singing the glory of that specific attributes, you are singing the glory of Ishvara. Just singing the glory of attribute is not the singing the glory of Ishvara. You understand and appreciate Ishvara in that form with that specific attribute, and then you chant different names. That is the worship of Ishvara. That is called upasana here. Upasitavyam. So upasitavyam is definitely Ishvara has to be worshipped through these specific attributes. That's how it is said, Tadvanam nama upasitavyam. Sing the glory by taking his names. That is upasana. So, and one can meditate this do good upasana with eyes closed or without, keeping the eyes open also. Ultimately, you are seeing the glory in the mind. Really. Even like, suppose you consider this as a flower. Consider right now. Now when I see a flower, it's not the glory of Ishvara. But seeing the flower, I appreciate with certain specific attributes of that flower and relating to Ishvara in my mind. That is the glory. So a more than sight is required while appreciating or singing the glory of Ishvara. Seeing the form is not a Ishvara, basically. Basically, you relate it to the Ishvara. That, the flower is a flower because of Ishvara, etc., etc. Seeing seeing a tree is not just a Ishvara. But you see that, a tree has a certain specific attributes, and that is the manifestation of Ishvara. That is understanding here. So it is more than a sight. And therefore, in doing this upasana, basically you keep your eyes open or you close your eyes and see all these things in your mind. It's visualized in the mind. Ultimately, it is at the mental level. What I want to convey is it at the mental level. It is not at the sensory level. And therefore, just by hearing some voice of a bird is not a glory of Ishvara. But when you hear, and then again you at a mental level you think that this is an attribute, specific attribute of a bird which is a manifestation of Ishvara, that is what the upasana is. So upasana is a purely at the mental level, purely mental activity. Manasa vyapara. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa vyapara dhyanam or upasana. Purely mental activity. And therefore, whether you see a form or visualize a form in the mind and then do this kind of connect it to Ishvara, then it becomes upasana. Please understand this. So now I am seeing Swamiji various things. Seeing several things, it doesn't. Seeing an ocean is not a glory of Ishvara. Understanding it is a manifestation of Ishvara with the specific attributes of the ocean, that is upasana. So either you can keep your eyes open or you can keep your eyes closed. But when, Swamiji? while doing archana. But we are not doing archana. We are not doing archana. That's question is going to come, I know. So meditation is basically, what is meditation and what is puja? See, puja means you do a activity at the level of a physical body. Now, whatever you are doing at the level of a physical body and at the level of a speech, vachika pravrutti and vachika vyapara and kayika vyapara. So you can definitely relate to Ishvara at all the three levels of your personality. At the physical level also you can relate to by puja, doing all the 16 upacharas, etc. Definitely you will have to take help of your physical body. So you are relating through the physical body, but then not just physical body. While doing puja, you are also doing some chanting of mantra or shlokas, etc. And therefore, speech also is involved. And not only speech, mind also is involved. Definitely. Mind has to be there. It is not there, that's a different idea. But it's a different thing. But mind also has to be there behind the shloka also. Anyway, chanting the shloka and doing that upachara. Swamiji, I don't know. I did puja, but I was totally absent. My mind was somewhere else. And therefore, I don't know what I did today. Whether I have given this, offered Naivedyam or not, that itself I don't know. And what I have offered in Naivedyam, that itself I don't know. Well, that is a different issue. Now, but what I am saying is, when you do puja, entire personality is involved. All the three aspects. At the level of physical body, you are relating to Ishvara. At the level of speech, you are relating by chanting shloka, etc. And at the level of mind also, you are involved. And therefore, puja gives you much punyam compared to just chanting a shloka or chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. That's while chanting 1,000 names of Vishnu Sahasranama, if you are offering also with the flower, putting a flower at the altar of Vishnu, altar of Ishvara, well, you will have a more punyam. No, Swamiji, but instead of doing archana, if I just chant Vishnu Sahasranama, well, less punyam, definitely. Because more the effort, more the punyam. And therefore, if you are involved, your physical body also is involved along with the speech and the mind also, definitely more punyam. Karma, well, definitely is like this. More the effort, more the punyam. In this kind of karmas I am talking about. And therefore, suppose if you even drop mind, at the level of speech also, you make your speech silent and just do dhyanam, mental activity. Well, punyam is least punyam. People have a wrong notion. If I do entire puja at the level of mind, called manasa puja, well, then I will have more punyam. Forget it. Because your least effort is involved and therefore least punyam. Because punyam is a karma phala. More the effort, more the karma, more the karma phala. That's how it is. Then why this dhyanam? Why Vipassana is necessary? Because it gives you more drishta phalam, not adrishta. Karma can give you two types of phalam. One is a drishta phalam and one is adrishta phalam. And certain karmas, especially involving Ishvara, etc., will definitely generate adrishtam also, punyam also. And therefore, well, physical, the puja, etc., will give you more adrishtam compared to drishta phalam. And but the upasana, etc., gives you more drishta phalam. Means basically when you are doing upasana, you will get a focusing capacity, etc., of the mind and staying with one thing, etc. Well, that kind of this is a drishta phalam that you can experience. That you will gain it after certain practice of upasana. That's a drishta phalam you will gain. But in terms of adrishtam, it will be less, definitely less. So if you are in need of a punyam, basically, if you are seeking his grace, blessing, definitely you will need a punyam. Punyam is nothing but a grace. Punyam is it's a grace. Grace is a graceful way of looking at the thing. And so, well, basically, ultimately, any karma phala is a grace. Any karma phala is a grace. Anyway, we'll not go into that right now. But what I'm saying is punya. Punyam also is grace. That is karma phala. That has come from Ishvara as a grace. And that will be more when even this physical body, etc., is involved. But anyway, what I want to convey is that this manasa vyapara, this meditation, I'm seeing the glory of Ishvara, connecting to Ishvara in form of a specific, I mean, in terms of manifestation with a specific attributes, well, definitely is a purely mental activity. Purely mental activity. And therefore, either you keep your eyes open or you keep it closed. It doesn't make much difference so far as this kind of upasana is concerned. So one appreciates the glory basically of Ishvara, because of whom, well, I said a flower is a flower, eye is an eye, human being is a human being, everything. It is specific. Otherwise, how will you know I am a human being and this is clip? How will you know? How will you know? Oh, Swamiji, I can see clip as a clip and I can see human being is a human being. Means you are able to appreciate a certain specific attributes of a human being, and this has a different types of attributes. So every way in the whole creation, all the manifestations have a different attributes, specific attributes, and those specific attributes belong to that form. Well, belong to Ishvara, because Ishvara alone is in all the forms. And out of the crores and crores of billions and billions of forms, we chose 1,000 forms and 1,000 names. And then we offer our salutation. That's called Archana. So that kind of upasana has been taught here. Tadvanam nama upasitavyam means Ishvara is to be worshipped in the form of Tadvanam. Well, Tadvanam means basically he is worshipful, and he is worshipful in terms of all the three worlds. And and how will I worship? Singing his glories. Then choose 1,000 forms and 1,000 names, and then you definitely offer yourself, surrender yourself to Ishvara by saying Namaha, and use a fourth case. When you say Namaha, you have to use fourth case. And therefore, Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, etc., etc. That is his glory. What does one get out of this? Love. Because ultimately we are interested in result. So, well, one gets Ishvara by one side. You will bring Ishvara on your side. And then definitely, when you bring Ishvara on your side, separation goes away. That's the beauty of the thing. And bringing Ishvara on one side is beautiful. Not bringing certain family member on one side, where they will jump from other side to other side also. Any moment, they will jump to other side. So don't bring any other person to your side while singing that person's glory. Nothing, that is not going to be advantageous. Bring Ishvara to your side. He will remain on your side all the time. In fact, he is on your side. Appreciate that he is on your side. He is on your side. He is on your side only, sir. He pervades you. He is right there in you. He is not sitting on top of you. I mean, what is that? I should not use that word, but on top of your head. He is there in you. And therefore appreciate that he is with you. That is called upasana. That is called upasana. So if one needs help, one has to go to the right person. And well, if one seeks the help of somebody who requires help, if you ask a help of some person who himself needs a help, then definitely either he holds on to you or you hold on to him, and that is not going to be useful. So one has to take the help of Ishvara, and one has to help oneself with the help of Ishvara, and then later one has to help oneself. That's the truth about the person. See, and so that shows that you have to take help of Ishvara, intelligently. Ravana also took the help of Ishvara. Basically, I am told, with all the stories, whatever I know little bit, that Ravana also took the help of Ishvara, but not intelligently. It has brought a destruction. Ishvara is there all the time. Whatever way you want to tap, you can tap. And that is how Asuras have tapped his grace. Asuras have done thousands and thousands of years of upasana and got lot of powers and what not. But ultimately, they all those things, with those powers, they themselves are destroyed by the same Ishvara. So definitely seek his help, but seek his help intelligently, which can definitely make you free ultimately. So that kind of a help you should take from Ishvara. So that is what Ishvara is about. So Ishvara is because all the time available, right, inside, outside, everywhere. So one has to tap. Pujya Swami's word I remember when he came to Ahmedabad, and for our Swami V, he has used this word. While in the 68th birthday he came, and he has used for Swami V these words, that Swami V knew how to tap the grace of Ishvara intelligently. That's what Swami V is. That's how he told in open. You can understand this is not a simple glory. I mean, whatever, but the Swamiji, you may be telling like that, but that is how Pujya Swamiji described. So, well, we also have to tap Ishvara's grace intelligently, which can ultimately make us free, not destroy like Asuras. And so, Asuras also have got the grace of Ishvara. They got so many powers and everything, including Ravana, but then they got destroyed. So anyway, in this upasana, it looks as though that, well, I am singing all the time his glories and therefore I am selling myself out. Well, therefore I also do require some glories for my self-image. Well, don't worry about it. If all my glories belong to Ishvara, will I not become a totally non-existent entity or empty shell-like thing? No. It's not a sellout, don't worry. Well, only my smallness goes away. It's in absence of Ishvara, basically person's ego is big. And how big it is? It's like a frog, basically. The frog who wants to say that the buffalo is, how big buffalo is. And it tries to show by, taking more and more air, and it tries to expand. Ego is like this. So, well, basically if you bring Ishvara into your life, your smallness in terms of ego will go away. Because you are surrendering your ego to Ishvara, who will ultimately make you free from the ego, the smallness. You and he, I'm telling he, or you can say you and she, whatever, become one. So your smallness goes away. His glories, all the glories which you have sung as a devotee, will be your glories. Because you are also Brahman. And therefore whatever is here, that is limitless Brahman. Whatever is here is limitless Brahman. And therefore, well, ultimately all the glories in this creation is your glory. So don't worry about it. You are not going to you are not going to sell out yourself. Don't worry about it. These are all the phrases of the Nastikas. And so we should be clear. We need not answer them, but we should be clear what we are doing. And so tap the grace intelligently. Yadetat Brahma evam upasitavyam Veda upaste. One who meditates on Brahman as Tadvanam in this manner, that every glory belongs to Ishvara. Sarvam bhutani abhivanchanti. All beings love to be in the presence of that person. One does not seek any more approval to others, of course. And well, people like to be with that person all the time. They never get tired of that person, of this upasaka. So, well, definitely this is because, why? Because he is like Ishvara. And like you like to be in the presence of Ishvara all the time. Same way this upasaka was meditated like this, singing all the glories and ultimately identifying with him. Ultimately, so he is also like Ishvara, and therefore people want to be all the time in his presence. They don't get tired of that person. That's all. So that is what has been told in the mantra itself. The one who meditates upon Ishvara as the most adorable one becomes adorable among the community, among the people. This is how he becomes adorable. Everyone likes his presence. No one get tired of that person. That's just a result has been shown. Anyway, so we'll see now mantra 7 etc. tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.